Hello, friends. Welcome to Empty Cloud Monastery, Buddhist Insights. We're here with Bhante Sankichcha, who is kindly offering some words of Dhamma this evening on the purification of mind is the way to happiness. So there will be, Bhante is currently staying at, I don't remember the name of the temple, Bhante, so if you can remind me, that's great.
Great Lakes Buddhist Vihara.
Thank you very much. Great Lakes Buddhist Vihara. It's in Michigan, correct, Bhante?
Yes. Yes.
Wonderful. And they offer lots of different beautiful programs, lots of retreats when I guess the pandemic is not in full happening. So you can check their website and visit Bhante Sankichcha, but they're also offering programs online. So you can also participate in that way. So welcome to Sam, Deepa, Kauser Sven watching from Europe, as well as Jayanta. And without further ado, I'll pass it over to Bhante so we can start this evening.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I really appreciate this Dhamma meeting, Dhamma sharing with you all. So a special thanks go to Bhante Sudaso and Ayasoma for inviting me to this evening Dhamma talk. So I would like to begin this session with a short guided meditation on loving kindness. So make yourself very comfortable and relaxed. As you maintain a very peaceful and relaxed posture with gently closed eyes, feel the presence of yourself in your peaceful atmosphere. And taking a few deep inhalations and exhalations, some long, mindful and gentle breaths, releasing any tension and negative energies from your body. Now, feeling your entire body with the mind, being very friendly to yourself, you may wish yourself and bless yourself from the bottom of your heart for your physical and mental well-being. Feeling these positive energies in your heart and letting these positive energies, the vibrations, resonate through each and every single part of your body as you repeat these positive, loving, compassionate thoughts and praises again and again. Instead of just repeating these words, experiencing the beautiful qualities of love within yourself, within your body and mind. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be relaxed. May I be peaceful. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be relaxed. May I be peaceful. being very kind and gentle to yourself, even accepting yourself for being who you are and what you are. And do not forget to maintain a compassionate, slight smile in your face towards yourself. Remember, whenever you smile from your own heart, you generate lots of positive energies. So let these positive energies illuminate your inner experience. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be relaxed. May I be peaceful. And now, as you experience this loving kindness and compassion within yourself, within your body and mind, let it expand towards all beings in the world, in the universe, letting your love go to all beings in all directions, near or distant, seen, unseen, small or mighty, all beings who are suffering from pain, hunger, and diseases, all beings who are in peace and happiness, all beings who are dying at this very moment, those who are being born to this world at this very moment, broadening your heart, broadening your mind. Let your love go to all beings without any difference. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be relaxed. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be relaxed. May all beings be peaceful. Okay, you may open your eyes. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, dear friends, the topic today for the Dhamma talk is the purification of the way to happiness. The purification of the mind is the way to happiness. So, this is a very interesting topic, and it can be very applicable to everybody, as this is very much direct to uh, our personal experience, and also it directly connects with the Dhamma, the spiritual practice that we all follow in our everyday life. Even to understand the topic, the meaning of these words, how they are experienced in our life, it's very important in the beginning. So it talks about the purification, it talks about the mind, it mentions about the way, and eventually the happiness. Even though this title ends with the term happiness, this is how I would like to begin this short Dhamma talk with, which is the purpose of all beings. If you simply think about, the purpose of our life is to be happy. So we always look for happiness. Everything we do in our life, every day, every hour, every single moment, we all want to be happy. So it's a kind of a struggle that we are having in our everyday life within this psychophysical entity as we are interacting with the external world through our senses. This is the purpose, to be happy, to please our senses, to please our mind eventually, basically our overall experience. Because we always enjoy being happy. Nobody likes to be unhappy. Nobody likes to get uncomfortable and to go through any negative state. So, therefore, this is a very common fact that we all look for the happiness in life. Not only human beings, but all beings. All beings, they all want to be happy. So, therefore, it is very relevant, very appropriate for us to uh, talk about it. Talk about it. So, as human beings, when we try to look for happiness, experience of happiness in our life, we always feel that we always understand that there should be some conditions to be satisfied in our life. So for our happiness, we always want to maintain these states in our experience. First of all, we all want to be very healthy, physically and mentally healthy. If we are not healthy, we cannot be happy, because we know to get sick physically and mentally is a painful experience. So we cannot be happy if we are sick, if we are ill. So therefore, we always want to maintain this physical and mental health. It's a very essential part of our happiness. And also, we always want to maintain very healthy relationships. As human beings, we always deal with other people. We always interact with other people. We do not live alone in this world. So we always want to maintain very healthy relationships uh, with our parents, with your siblings, your children, grandparents, friends, co-workers, um, everybody, basically. So it has been a very special part of our happiness, because we know It is not the case always when you think about society, what people are going through. Their relationships are not really satisfactory all the time. So there are issues, there are problems, there are conflicts in relationships that can lead to many negative experiences in life in different levels, different uh, dimensions. People are experiencing this unhappiness, negative states because of unhealthy relationships. And also, uh, as lay people, actually, to be very efficient in whatever you do is also become a very important part of your happiness. You all want to be very efficient in whatever you do, especially at work, maybe housework, whenever you are supposed to be doing anything related to you, essential to you, you have to be very efficient. So these parts are very important to our happiness, because happiness is not one single thing, one single experience that we have in our life. It's very complicated, and it is a combination of many essential factors. It doesn't come from one direction. So it has the multi dimensions, as we can see. Uh, but we will not be able to satisfy all these areas, all these steps in our everyday life. But our purpose is to bring these levels to a considerable positive level, healthy levels. And then we can see ourselves being very happy. So whenever we have these purposes, whenever we have this purpose in life, to be happy always, um, there are so many conditions that come in conflict, right? Because we always cannot maintain the happiness the way we want to. It is always subject to change depending on many different circumstances. Yeah? It's very hard to maintain, very hard to keep it. When you achieve it, it can easily go away from you as a result of the impermanent nature, the anicca. So therefore, it has become a struggle of our everyday life to be happy, to keep our happiness the way we want to. Okay, so we can see that why we cannot maintain this happiness for a long time, because there are so many other conflicting factors, negativities come in conflict with our happiness. So this is what we can understand as the disturbances of our mind. What arises in our mind as distractions, disturbances, uh, they keep us away from being happy, being peaceful, being relaxed, being tranquil, being healthy. So this is a very common thing to understand when we think about our human experience. Basically, what we can understand is these negativities can be identified as uh, negative emotions. Negative emotions, basically, what distracts us in our everyday life. If you analyze it, if you analyze this everyday life experience within our mind, what mostly causes us unhappiness or suffering, fear, worries, stress, and anxieties, they all come from these negative emotions. They all can be identified as negative emotions. When these emotions are present, we are not happy, we are not comfortable, we are not peaceful. So, this is a very common experience. So, we can understand then there are conflicting conditions for our happiness. So they are identified as negative emotions. So in the Dhamma, all these negative emotions, internal disturbances, distractions are identified as kilesa, mental impurities or underlying tendencies. So you all have been listening to this series of Dhamma talks conducted and shared from the anti-cloud monastery. Especially these days, you all are listening to these topics very enthusiastically, I can see. So these things are very much related to what you all have been listening to these days. Uh, so we all talk about these negativities, negative tendencies in our mind, in our life. Uh, but when you think about the normal society, hmm, normal attitude uh, of happiness, for uh, general people, we can see that how much actually people are enjoying these negativities actually. It is the unskillful nature of experience. It's a kind of attitude, it's a kind of habit in the human experience that we sometimes enjoy these negativities because of different reasons. First thing, as we do not know anything beyond these negativities. If anyone does not know what are the good qualities, positive things, happiness, what is the nature of having peace, the love and compassion in mind, they don't know how to appreciate, they don't know how to enjoy it. So they always look for these negative conditions, what they are conditioned with, right? They don't know anything else to enjoy and appreciate. So they always appreciate these negativities in their life. So this is what we can commonly see in the world, in society, what people are appreciating, right? What people are really enjoying uh, in their life, right? So they are full of these negativities or kilesas, mental impurities. As you always listen, loba, dosa, and moha, greed, hatred, and delusions. What people are enjoying today in the world is full of all these impurities. This is the normal nature, unskillful nature of human experience. Uh, so they still can enjoy the negativities in life, in their mind, until they begin to experience anything beyond that. Uh, so this is what we can see. If someone does not know uh, anything about the negative consequences of killing and harming, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, taking drugs and intoxicants, all these things, uh, they keep doing that. They keep enjoying it, no matter how harmful it is to themselves and others, both directions. No matter what, they keep doing it. They keep engaging in these negative practices, experiences, and they enjoy it. They appreciate it. So that is the normal nature of the world. But the spiritual approach is somewhat different. It's very unique. Uh, it's a very unique thing to understand. Uh, so this is all about a religion, any spirituality, the practicing of or following of any spiritual direction is the purpose of transforming oneself, from these negative experiences to a higher level, positive levels. And then in that realm of existence, that experience, someone begins to appreciate and enjoy the positive qualities, good things, highly advanced spiritual qualities, not the negative ones. So we can see that when someone begins to cultivate the mind, try to live a spiritual life, that person is very different from what they are really appreciating, what they are really enjoying in their life. It can be completely different from the normal general society. So there we can see we become able to appreciate and enjoy the inner peace and tranquility, the loving kindness, sharing and caring, being humble, being very mindful, you know, being very compassionate to others. So these are higher spiritual qualities in human mind, human existence, right? So in the spiritual realm, we learn how to enjoy them, how to appreciate them as we cultivate them. Mhm. As they become very comfortable, as they can make us very comfortable, soothing, peaceful, and tranquil. Okay, so this becomes an attitude, as we cultivate them. Okay, so therefore, in the Buddhist teachings, as we can see, uh, the purpose of this spiritual journey, the Buddha's path to awakening, is also the total purification of the mind. We can see that clearly. Throughout the Dhamma, this spiritual journey, we can see in every single step of practicing the Dhamma leads us to the purification of the mind, to complete eradication of all these mental impurities, lobha, dosa, moha, uh, mm, based on all these negative conditions, all other minor impurities. The purpose of this spiritual journey is to completely eradicate, wipe out all these mental impurities. Why? Because they bring us the suffering. So, this is the basic understanding according to the Dhamma. Kilesa, the mental impurities, always make us suffer in this life. These negativities are the causes of suffering in our everyday life. So therefore, purpose of this spiritual practice is to completely purify our mind. Purify our mind. So that's why in the teachings of the Buddha, it always appreciates the purification of the mind is the way to happiness. So how it happens in our normal experience is that it's very important to understand this point, that there are two types of evolutions. One evolution is known as the biological evolution, as you all know. The Darwin's theory of evolution, it talks about the biological evolution, how this physical body, physical experience changes in time. Mhm. So that is directly related to the environment. How we get adjusted ourselves to the environment for the survival purpose, the survival of the fittest, as he formulated that. That physical evolution is taking place all the time. Even at this moment, the physical evolution is taking place among all species, right? Uh, Having the basic purpose of the survival. And it happens naturally. It does not require our conscious effort, our intervention. It happens naturally. That is the biological evolution. The other evolution is very important. It is called the evolution of consciousness. The evolution of consciousness uh, is what makes us unique as human beings. As we can see, the consciousness, the mind, the mental experience is very broad among different realms of existence, right? In the animal kingdom, hungry ghosts, human beings, divine beings, we can see that there are different levels of the consciousness. So it is the evolution of consciousness. It also happens in time, but the evolution of consciousness up to a higher level towards positive direction, it doesn't happen automatically like the biological evolution. The spiritual evolution always requires our conscious involvement, conscious effort. So, according to the Buddhist understanding, we can see that the highest level of the evolution of this consciousness is the enlightenment or the Buddhahood. There's nothing beyond that. That's the ultimate, nothing beyond that. So we all are in that process, uh, in the evolution of consciousness. So we have to cultivate these positive qualities. We have to transform our mind. We have to develop our mind up to a higher level through our conscious effort. It will not come to us automatically, and no one else can even give it to you. We had to purposely, intentionally do that with our own direct involvement and effort. So, these two evolutions are very important to understand. So, with that basic understanding, what we come to understand is that our happiness is something related to, something connected to our inner experience. Our happiness is not found in the external world, even though uh, our perceptions, our senses are always directed to outside world. In the normal unskillful level of this experience, we always depend on the external world, thinking that our happiness is found outside of us. That's where normal people believe that if they want to be very happy, they have to have a lot of money. They have to have a bigger mansion. Have to have so many other material conditions around them. Mm. So that is the way to unhappiness. Because when all these things are subject to change, their happiness is also subject to change without their control. But in this spiritual level, in the evolution of consciousness, what we simply understand is that our happiness has nothing to do with the external world. It is directly our perception, how we interpret, and how we perceive this external world and our internal experience. Eventually, that becomes directly connected to our happiness or suffering. So, this is basically the turning point, the paradigm shift of this spiritual journey. This is where you begin to enjoy your life in a totally different way. This is the point that you begin to look at the world in a totally different way, changing your purpose of life, the purpose of happiness, even the means of happiness. Everything is going to change based on this point. Uh, so, therefore, uh, the purification of the mind is the theme of the Dhamma practice. Mm. So, as you all have been listening to special Dhamma talks on the dependent origination, right? Uh, the Buddhist ultimate teachings on uh, dependent co-arising, mm, the dependent origination. So these kind of subtle, profound, deep knowledge and understandings is not possible to touch even, perceive even with the disturbed, distracted mind, contaminated mind. Mm. This is the point. And this is why we need a pure mind. According to the Buddhist teachings, concentrated mind, the pure mind always sees the truth. Mm. Not a distracted mind, disturbed mind, contaminated mind. That is the purpose. Mm. The wonderful example is just like a mirror. Mm. Uh, just like a mirror, if mirror has dust on it, or if the mirror is cracked, it will give you a very unclear, vague image, or distorted image. But once you clean that mirror, if you remove the dust or any other matters on the surface of the mirror, it will give the perfect reflection. So mind is just like that. When your mind is so pure, whatever gets into your mind gives the clear picture. That pure state of mind can be identified as the perfect mindfulness, perfect awareness. So you clearly see things as they are. So that is the ultimate purpose of the purification of the mind. We have the purpose to be able to realize the Four Noble Truths, to be able to understand the ultimate reality of our body and mind, our life experience, and the world at the same time. So, this is the purpose according to the Dhamma. as we can see in the Dhamma, it is mentioned in many different places. In the very first place, uh, it mentions in a very common stanza of the Gatha, Sabba papassa akaranang kusalassa upasampada sachitta pariyodapanang etang buddhana sasanam. The teachings of all the Buddhas, uh, to let go of all negativities and to cultivate all the good qualities and to purify one's own mind or to develop one's own mind are the teachings of the Buddha. So we can see that it is mentioned in that very common stanza. And also in the Satipatthana Sutta, the four foundations of mindfulness, it is directly mentioned. Sattanang Visuddhya. Sattanang Visuddhya, the Satipatthana, four foundations of mindfulness is also practiced with the purpose of Sattanang Visuddhya, for the purification of the beings, the purification of the mind. Uh, so this is very essential to understand. Therefore, we can directly understand all Buddhist practice, all the teachings of the Buddha, like all the steps in the Dhamma, the Noble Eightfold Path, Sila, Samadhi, and Panya, Dana, Sila, Bhavana, generosity, concentration or the purification of the mind, and wisdom. All these qualities in the spiritual journey lead us to the total purification of the mind. So we can clearly understand that purpose in life, of this spiritual journey. Okay, so it's a very profound thing to happen in life, you know, to be able to appreciate the purification of the mind or the pure state of mind as an attitude. This is something you value in your life. This is something you enjoy and even appreciate in others. You know, it is not the common thing for the normal people in society. It is not something that many people would appreciate in life, right? What people mostly appreciate today, these external things, physical beauty, the power, the money, cars, uh, all these things. These material things are the conditions that they really appreciate, and how they would even measure someone's success, progress, and still with these conditions. And hardly someone appreciates these inner qualities, this pure state of mind, pure qualities of mind. And this is the difference between the normal life and the spiritual life, right? So when we talk about the purity, the purification of the mind in a practical way, it's a very wonderful thing to talk about, as a quality, as an attitude, uh, these impurities, how people are conditioned to these things. As I mentioned earlier, as they don't know anything about beyond these negativities, mental impurities, they don't know how to appreciate it. So there are people in society we can see, they can live with any dirt around, right? Uh, they don't have any complaint. They don't really worry about anything. They can live with any dirt, any dust, anything around them. You can see that whenever you observe someone's house, the room or the table even, right? You can see that how people uh, are enjoying their life, how people are conditioned to appreciate that kind of environment. They don't have any concern about purity, the tidiness. It's a quality. It's a quality. But for some people, they don't bother. They can live with any dirt, right? So it's an attitude. The wonderful thing that I have seen, that can happen to someone. you don't begin to enjoy uh, the cleanliness, the pure state of our life, our living experience, everyday life, until you begin to clean, until you begin to clean. Okay. So, for an example, this can be a very practical thing for some of you. Imagine you house, you always clean the spider webs, right? We always clean our house, our places. We remove spider webs. You know, wonderful thing is that the moment you begin to clean the spider webs, that is the moment that you begin to see spider webs everywhere, all over the place. You didn't see them until the moment you began to clean these spider webs, right? You never noticed that. You begin to see them at the moment you begin to clean your house, your place of living, removing these spider webs. you know uh, this is a very important thing to understand in our practical level. When we talk about mental purity, in the purification of the mind, you begin to enjoy the purity of mind from the moment you begin to purify your mind. So, as I mentioned earlier, if you do not know anything beyond the impurities, you don't know how to appreciate it. You don't know how to enjoy it, right? So, you need to cultivate it. You need to develop within yourself, these positive qualities. And only then you can see, what a wonderful experience it is. Hmm? To meditate, to have the loving kindness and compassion, to be humble, to be peaceful, to be tranquil within. So you begin to experience it. Only then you begin to see the drawbacks of mental impurities, why they are wrong, why they are wrong, why they are bad, why they are negative. Hmm? So until you begin to cultivate the pure qualities, higher spiritual qualities, you don't know how to enjoy them. So, therefore, it has to become an attitude in our life, to appreciate the purity, the cleanliness, the tidiness, right? It becomes a quality. So, you can see that when you enter a house, when you enter someone's room, this external experience, what you can see in the surrounding, is directly the manifestation of someone's inner experience, directly. Uh, so we can see that. It's a wonderful thing to understand. Uh, so, in the practical level, we can see what we appreciate within is going to manifest in our surrounding. Mm. So, the wonderful thing to understand that, when you begin to clean your mind, purify your mind, you get to see these mental impurities. How many kilesa, how many mental impurities are there in your mind? Until that moment, you are not going to see them. You are not going to notice them. You are not going to be conscious about them. Uh, so, this is the purpose of the spiritual practice, reminding yourself of this purity, the purification of the mind. When you have that intention in your mind, whenever a mental impurity arises in your mind, you suddenly directly observe it. You directly become conscious about it, and then you can work on it to get rid of it. Mhm. So, this is the practice. Mhm. So, therefore, to maintain a pure state of mind is a quality of our life. Mm. So, with this understanding, I have come up with a theory. Mm. In my personal experience, I call it the sink theory. Sink, the sink in the bathroom. uh, So it just occurred to me, actually, in my personal practice, in my monastic life. You know, when I go to a bathroom every day in the morning, uh, to brush my teeth, to wash my face. So this is a very common, practical, everyday experience that we all have. We go in front of a mirror, we go to the sink, to take care of these daily routines. So what I just observe, you know, this sink, you know, when the sink is very dirty, when it is not clean, you know, the first thing is that you are not going to be happy in the morning, right? It doesn't give you a pleasant experience if your sink is dirty, okay? And the other thing is that when your sink is dirty, a lot of grays, a lot of conditions, other things are there. When it looks ugly, whatever gets into that sink easily stays there. It doesn't uh, wash away easily, right? When the surface of the sink is contaminated by different things, grease, oily stuff, whatever gets in there gets stuck very easily. Okay, but when you clean the sink, applying whatever the cleaning materials you use, uh, if you keep the sink very shiny, very beautiful, mm, uh, like crystal clear, you can clearly see a beautiful thing happens. Mm. When the sink is always clean, whatever gets in there doesn't stay easily. It quickly washes away. This is something I directly observed. This is what I directly observed early in the morning. Mm. When your sink is very clean, crystal clean, you know, uh, it gives you such a pleasant experience in the morning. And whatever gets in there easily washes away. It never catches any dirt. So suddenly I see that similar nature in my mind, in my practice. You know, when your mind is so disturbed, distracted, contaminated by so many different mental impurities, whatever gets in there easily gets stuck. You know, they don't easily go away. You know, they get piled up. Just like the sink surface. You know, it keeps adding whatever gets in there. You know, doesn't easily wash away. So mind is also having the same quality. Whenever mind is not pure, whenever our mind is not clean, whenever mental impurities are arising in our mind, or whenever we get in touch with any negative condition outside of us, we easily develop these negative tendencies, negative conditions, mental impurities in our mind. Okay, and then it becomes very hard to clean, very hard to let go of them, very hard to get rid of them. But when you maintain a pure state of mind, whenever you maintain a pure state of mind, just like the sink, remember, when the sink is very clean, very pure, crystal clean, even a single dust can be seen. Don't you think so? Even a simple dust can be easily seen, right? Only when it is pure, when it is clean, crystal clean. So it is same with the mind. When your mind is so clean, so pure, so peaceful, tranquil, this is exactly the level of a meditation. If you can remember, whatever gets into your mind, any single dirt, any single mental impurity is easily seen, easily observed, directly, consciously being observed, because your attitude is totally different here. Hmm? Your purpose is to maintain a pure state of mind as you are enjoying it, as a higher level of this experience in this existence. Uh, so when you maintain that pure state of mind with that positive attitude, you easily get to see them. You easily get to see them, and you can really work on that there. You keep analyzing your mental impurities and work so hard to get rid of them, you know, because you always go back to that pure state of mind. Mm. Pure state of mind is something unique to our consciousness, our mind. You know, it is what we call the Buddha nature, even, right? The pure state of mind is always there within us. Mm. So we can always get connected with that nature whenever we train our mind to do so. Whenever we have a better understanding to navigate ourselves through the process, systematic process, we can easily get it in touch with that pure state of our experience, our mind. Uh, so that's why Buddha says even uh, this mind is radiant in its nature, in its original level. Uh, it says in the Dhammapada, in one of the stanzas, your mind is so radiant, so powerful in its original nature. But as you agantukehi upakkilesehi upakkilita, as you interact with the external world, as your mind keeps piling up these negative layers of impurities, we lose that pure state of mind. Mm? We lose that pure state of mind. The wonderful thing that, the hope for us is that we can reverse that process. No one is destined to be negative forever. You know, we all can unlearn that process. We all can go back to that original peace or the default pure state of mind whenever we follow the necessary steps. Necessary steps. uh, that hope is there. We all are born with that Buddha nature. So that is the purpose of this spiritual practice, which is possible for anyone to attain to. you know if we follow the necessary steps, we all can reach that pure state of mind. And then the final thing is that it doesn't happen automatically. It needs our effort, our conscious effort and involvement, the purification of the mind. So that is why it is said that upakkalitasya visake chittasya upakkamena pariyodapana honti. That means the purification of mind is done in a systematic way, and a skillful way, even. You know, we have to be very smart in that practice. We have to be very smart in navigating through that process. If we are smart, we know how to live in this world, very distractive, disturbing world. Protecting our mind, guarding our senses. Being very mindful and attentive to this process. And then even very simple little things can be very helpful for us to our awakening. So this is where even you begin to appreciate and enjoy even the simple little things in your life. Because of that positive attitude. You don't need so many things to be happy in this world. As you appreciate these inner qualities, the pure state of mind to be the most important thing for you. you know what you enjoy in your life is going to be changed because of that understanding. you know so this is something I wanted to share with you about the purification of the mind is the way to happiness. So there are a lot to learn, a lot to talk about in our practical life experience, in terms of our spiritual practice, the Dhamma. So as it is very much connected to our personal experience. So I would like to end my Dhamma talk here. So if you have any question, we can spend some time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All All right. So Hannamayam Nammakataya Sadhukaram Nadamase. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Anumodami. Thank you so much, Bhante, for sharing those words of Dhamma. So we have a few questions for you that have popped out in the meanwhile. So 1311 is asking, are you in Michigan? Yes, Bhante is at the Great Lakes Buddhist Vihara in Michigan. So you can all visit the website and hopefully visit him in person. And then... here it is. Okay. Aum asks, Bhante, can you please speak a few words on the qualities of a purified mind?
Yes, as we mentioned, all the positive qualities that we appreciate, in our life, even in the Buddha's teachings. So these are the qualities of a purified mind, right? The loving kindness, compassion, patience, mindfulness, sharing and caring, and all these beautiful qualities, so nothing to do with the religion or anything, I mean, these things can be even common to all human beings, and these are something that would be appreciated in any civilized society, right? Because they are always good for you, they are always good for others, both directions. So as long as they are making you happy, making you peaceful, never lead you to any negativity, any quality can be identified as a purified quality, positive quality. So there can be no end to that list even, when you talk about them. And basically, we talk about these four sublime states: metta, karuna, mudita, upekha, right? The loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, and equanimity, all these things. And so these are the qualities actually of a highly advanced mind, or any existence even.
Thank you, Bhante. And our resident Harmeet has a question. So Harmeet, you can ask your question.
Sure. So my question is, on a daily basis, there are so many impurities and triggers, right? From what we hear people say that causes more impurities, what we see constantly bombarded with in negativity, even from fragrances and all the senses, we're constantly um, bombarded with so many impurities. Um, how can one, on a moment to moment, keep the mind purified? How do we filter out all of these so as to, like strain them or have a screen that they do not even reach our mind existence?
Right. Yeah, that's a very important question, actually. To get there, actually, it's very essential to keep that attitude always, within our conscious awareness. Okay. Uh, to be able to appreciate and enjoy the pure state of mind. As an attitude, we need to remind that to ourselves always, because our mind is always looking for the negativity is, negative condition. That's how we are conditioned uh, in this life, in this society. So we need to remind that. Okay. And uh, to keep that practice going on in our everyday life, as we are dealing with all these negativities in society, with other people, as we interact with them, all the practices, we appreciate in the Dhamma are going to be very helpful for you, especially the mindfulness. right? The mindfulness, the compassion, the gentleness, kindness, and most importantly, wise thinking. Hmm? Wise thinking is very important. That's where you analyze, all these conditions. Are they good? Are they bad? Are they pure or impure? Right? So then it becomes your conscious practice. Okay. So all the practices that come in the Dhamma, the Buddhist teachings, are helpful for us to maintain that ability to appreciate and enjoy this pure state of mind, as we all are living in so many distractions in society. So it's our responsibility. No one else can do that for us. That's why I mentioned that it requires our direct conscious effort. Without effort, we cannot do that.
Thank you for that explanation. It makes a lot of sense. The only follow up question I have, and I may answer it myself too, but is, so you can control how, yourself and your mind, you can keep it pure, and you can practice and have a self practice. What about the closest to you as a lay person, right? uh, your spouse, or your family, or your workers, coworkers, bosses, and things like that, as they keep causing these impurities? Is there any way to resolve or clean their spider webs, so to speak?
I would say no, right? How can you do that? You cannot purify someone else's mind. The only thing you can do is that you can share these values, with them. What you experience, what you appreciate, what you enjoy in your life, share with them. Educate them, show them the path, and let them also enjoy and appreciate these qualities, pure state of being. That's the only way to, I think, get rid of any disturbances, distractions around you. Otherwise you cannot simply change others, right? Because we know how hard it is to change ourselves. So how can you change someone else? Hmm? It is not possible. It's not easy. But we all have to learn how to survive. We all have to learn how to survive with all these conditions. Mhm. It is possible, you know. So many things, so many good qualities, practice are going to be helpful for us. Yeah.
Thank you, Bhante. Definitely, staying here at Empty Cloud, it was very easy to have a pure mind and follow the precepts. Very easy when you are already in a pure um, state, right? You're already in pure spiritual place, um, and you're away from a lot of the impurities. And yeah, when you get outside, it's much different. You're constantly purifying yourself and others, and leading example. Thank you.
That's what even I mentioned in my previous Dhamma talks, right? To avoid the Mara, you have to be in the safe zone, your own territory. That's exactly what we appreciate our spiritual companions, right? Kalyana Mittas. So we have to be with people, peers who value and enjoy the same values, conditions that we enjoy. So that's all about a spiritual practice. It's always helpful to be with the same people who appreciates, who values the same pure qualities, spiritual qualities. It becomes very comfortable. It's very easy then, you know. So we all have to be very smart in maintaining these qualities, conditions, even this helpful environment around us. We have to work on that.
Thank you so much, Bhante. And Manal, also online, has a question. If the mind recognizes a mental impurity, why does it waver sometimes in eliminating it completely? Will this be a process?
Mm. Uh, so the question, if the mind recognizes mental impurity, why does it waver sometimes in eliminating it completely? Will this be a process? Uh, so what is exactly she's asking? Uh,
Bhante Sudhasa, I think.
I think she's asking why we sometimes hesitate to cleanse our mind even when we recognize that there's impurities. Like we don't commit fully to the practice of cleansing the mind even when we see that it's dirty. I think that's what she's asking.
okay, thank you, Bante. Yeah, that is exactly because of our habits, right? So I mentioned that earlier. This is something our mind has been trained to enjoy, you know, conditioned to hang around with, you know. Even though we appreciate this pure state of mind, these spiritual qualities, your conditioned mind for a long time would not allow you to do that. That's where actually you need to have a lot of effort, a lot of courage, determination, involvement. The conscious effort is all about that. you know uh, so that's exactly the conflict, ongoing conflict between our rational mind and the emotions. Okay, your emotions pull you to one direction, and your wisdom, your understanding, pulls you to a totally different direction. So this is a kind of constant struggle. Even can lead to frustration for some people. They keep pulling you towards totally different directions. So what mostly wins in many people is the negative emotions, as they are conditioned for these negativities for long time. Not only this life, for long journey of samsara, they have been enjoying and appreciating, following these negativities, impure states of mind. Mm. So whenever we want to try the other way, the positive direction, our habit, the habitual mind would get involved, and so we have to make our wisdom, our right understanding, our positive attitudes very strong. you know uh, how much you enjoy, how much you appreciate it is the key. So then you would not allow these negative conditions to lead you, prevent you uh, from following the right direction. So it is the nature of our mind. The mind is so tricky, even though it is pure in nature. This is how we have conditioned our mind for a long time. That's what Buddha says. Mhm.
Thank you, Bhante. And since we're studying dependent origination in depth this week, I was wondering if you could perhaps share a few words on how kilesas come into being in that perspective.
Uh, I think these points are being already addressed in the Dhamma talks previously. I also happen to listen to them here and there. So the mental impurities arising in the process of communication with the external world through our senses, right? Uh, According to the dependent origination, salayatana paccaya passo, passa paccaya vedana, vedana paccaya tanha. Based on our sensual experience, we develop different mental impurities, cravings. Along that process is the anger or the aversion. So based on these two attitudes, we develop all mental impurities. So this is where it happens. So it's very essential to understand actually where we have to pay our attention, our conscious involvement. This is what we can correct even. When you talk about the dependent originations, the different limbs of this, the profound teaching, you cannot change or you cannot directly get involved with other steps, right? Like when you have five senses or six senses, you cannot stop seeing things, you cannot stop simply having sensations. It's natural, it's spontaneous, without your effort it happens. you know you cannot prevent that from happening, but what you can control is that emotional craving to your experience based on your perception upon your sensations, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral sensations. You can correct that. Hmm? That is exactly what it says in the Dhamma. Only thing that you get rid of is that tanha. Hmm? Tanha. Tanhakayo nirodho. Tanhakayo nibbana. Nothing else. You completely let go of the tanha part, or the emotional craving, attachment uh, to this sensual pleasure, sensual experience. Uh, so then this whole process is going to get shattered, going to be changed, having no fuel to continue the the other steps, succeeding steps. When you do not crave for the sensual pleasures, you don't crave for it. Because of letting go of the craving, knowing this whole process wisely, mindfully, intelligently, uh, you do not form any uh, identity, as me, mine, myself. That is exactly the bhava nirodha, complete freedom of this suffering. you know so because of that attachment, sensual or the emotional attachment to our sensual experience, we develop the craving. Because of the craving, we cling to this experience and we personalize it. It is exactly what it means to uh, upadana paccaya bhava. Bhava means you personalize this experience. All the sensual experience, your enjoyment, your hate, or whatever it is, you personalize it. You personalize it and you individualize it, and that's where you create your bhava, your existence as a person, being. Attaching that identity to it. You know, so when you personalize it, all the suffering is going to be there. When you create a person or being involved in this process, this is where the jati, jara, marana, soka, parideva, and all are going to be following right after that. Okay. So if you do not form a self-identity there, uh, there's no one even to die. There's no one even to be born again. So this is exactly where the whole problem, the mass of suffering, is going to end from that point. The complete letting go of that self-identity, which is the very subtle, profound uh, teaching and the practice in this whole process. So these things are very much connected to each step, as we can see.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for explaining so clearly, Bhante. So that was the last question for this evening. Dharma Learner is sharing that having these talks in the evening hours has been a great help keeping my spirits up and giving me support while enduring the tasks outside. So we're very happy to hear and very grateful for Bhante Sankichcha to tune in all the way from Michigan to offer this Dharma teaching. So Bhante, as mentioned at the beginning of this talk, lives at the Great Lakes Buddhist Vihara and shares Dhamma on a regular basis. So there are different ways through which one can listen to the teachings of Bhante Sankichcha, and you're all encouraged to keep in touch with Bhante, as well as all the other monastic sangha from Great Lakes Buddhist Vihara. And so we can end with 3 sadhus, as we like to do here at Empty Cloud Monastery. Thank you so much again, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much. So please remember the sink theory.
All right, wonderful. And Bhante will be joining us again next month on this channel with another topic, which I hope it's going to be on the asavas, anusayas, and related. And tomorrow morning, you can meet us again here at Empty Cloud Buddhist Insights YouTube channel at 8 a.m. New York City time, as well as 7:30 p.m. New York City time. We'll have a panel of monastics who will answer all the questions that you might have on Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And then if you're around this weekend, there will be Family Day. So you're encouraged to come with your entire family in person outdoors, since the weather is still nice here at Empty Cloud. There will be different opportunities to listen to the Dhamma with our senior monk, Bhante Sumita, as well as Bhante Sudaso will be there, and myself and Venerable Vimalanyani. And all right, we will also be doing a hiking and meditation retreat actually on Saturday afternoon. So many good things. Just check the website for more info. All right. Thank you again, everyone. May all beings be well, happy, and peaceful. And may all good things come to you.